Hello everyone, my name is Sangeeta and welcome back to my channel. So now we are on to the sixth episode of digital painting using GIMP series, and this is going to be the last but one episode in the entire series. So if you are interested, you can go ahead and check the entire series, like what it was all about and uh, how to use the tools and the filters and everything here. And this is created from a very beginner's perspective, and not just limited to the tool but the kind of images or the file formats that you can work with, and the peripherals that would you would need and so on. So for this episode, I want to cover on some of the very basic beginner mistakes that people do. Small ones, but it will eventually help you in the long run. So without wasting a lot of time, let's jump into it. So the very first thing that you need to take care of is, like, saving the file first. Like, it's a really small thing, but you can see that I have saved the file as test.xcf, which is on the extreme left corner of the screen. If this hadn't been saved, it would be untitled and so on. So whatever you're trying to do using this tool, just save the file first, because it's so easy to forget that you end up doing a lot of work, and there are chances that you might just lose your entire work if you haven't saved the whole thing. So just do this thing first, save it, and proceed to doing whatever you want to do. The second important thing is to work in layers. So as you can see that background is always the case whenever you have created a new file. So since I have already saved and kept it white, so you can see it here. You can check the first tutorial on how to create new files and how to make the settings so that you can change the background to black or white or whatever color you want. So always create a new layer first. I'll go ahead and create one, and then whatever you want to do, using your brush or whatever uh, tool set you are using, and then go ahead and proceed with it. Um, the third important thing is the use of eraser. So eraser tool is something that you will find beside the paintbrush tool, and uh, though the result may seem like a little obvious and not so much making a difference at a face value, but it goes ahead a long way. So let's see how this works. So I have created a random design, and you can see it here that in the layer a little squiggle, kind of black squiggle, is visible there. Now, let's say I want to undo it. One way people do it is by selecting the paintbrush tool again, making the color white again, and then going ahead and just painting on the top of it. So your canvas, like, comes back to the original state where it was. At a face value, it makes no change at all. But if you actually see the layer, and if you keep on, moving your pen tablet or your mouse, whatever you're using, you see that the layer has now turned a little whitish over here. So it's a very small thing, but the thing is, like, you're actually painting on that layer. So although it may look like it's making no difference at the canvas, but at the layer level it is. So to avoid that, let me just delete this layer and create another one on how to. Okay, yeah, proceed with it. So let's say I have a new layer and I'm creating another random design, and again, like, I want to undo this thing. So one thing is, like, you can basically undo it, but let's say if you have created a complicated piece and you want to erase a particular part, select the eraser tool here, which is beside the paintbrush tool, and then go ahead and remove the whole thing. So once this is done and you have saved your file, you are back to your blank canvas. But in the layer, the difference is that you don't see a whitish squiggle or something like that over here. So for smaller paintings it won't be much of a hassle, but when you're creating something like really complicated with multiple layers, these little things end up contributing to the whole of your artwork. The last thing that I want to cover is on text. So let's assume that you are creating comics using this tool, which is in fact the topic I want to cover in the next episode. Um, so with the thing with comics is like they can be text heavy and alignment plays a role. So a good thing to know is to keep them aligned. Like let's say if we have test layer here, test one, as as a text object, you can see that a layer is already created. And if I create another one, like let's say test 2, now these two are not aligned, but let's say if you want to align them, like properly align them, just select test. So here is a alignment tool for that, which is beside the select tool or the move tool. Select that, and with the relative to the active layer. So let's say if we have test 1 as the active layer, test select, with alignment tool selected, just click on test 2, you would see something like a selection thing over here, and then howsoever you want to align them. Like let's say I want to align them with the left borders, so align left edge is something that I'll select, and you can see that this thing aligns. So this is a very small example of alignment that you can experiment or use when creating text heavy stuff. Small things, but it makes your entire artwork cleaner. So yeah, so this is basically what I wanted to cover in this, and I'm keeping this tutorial really small and short. So I hope this was useful to you, and I'll see you next time, and keep on creating.